Alright guys, so today's video is finally on the Bose QuietComfort Earbuds 2. Now these are not cheap, they do come in retailing at $299, and starting with the price, that really does affect the way that I approached looking at these earbuds, because that's a very high price. In fact, that's one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive, when it comes to mainstream consumer earbuds. Now, I will say this, it does label itself as having the world's greatest noise canceling on a pair of earbuds. Even if that is a quote from Bose themselves, this actually is true. This is some of the best noise canceling that I've heard. So that, I think, is why they're trying to justify the $299 price tag. But there are a lot of things that just don't make sense to me. We're going to talk about that throughout this video and see if it could still be worth the $299 price tag. Now, I want to start with this. As far as the overall design, I am so happy that they decided to go smaller, because the original Bose QuietComfort earbuds were large. The case was large. The earbuds were huge. I really think there are new cars that are coming out that are actually smaller than those earbuds are. I mean, they stick out of your ear quite a bit, but they actually still go forward quite. I mean, they look like those old Bluetooth earpieces that people used to take phone calls. Now, as far as technology on these, they did upgrade to Bluetooth 5.3. but they only have AAC and SBC playback. And at least for me, from testing all of these other earbuds in this price range, I really expected higher end Bluetooth codecs. There's no LDAC, there's no aptX, there's no aptX adaptive, there's none of that. You're really getting standard Bluetooth codecs. And another thing is, these don't support multi-point connection either. So you can only connect to one device at a time. Again, in this price range, that is very frustrating. Now, these do work with Bose's app, which you pretty much do have to use to be able to take advantage of a lot of the features. They do have some pre-built EQ options. They give you kind of limited control over being able to EQ these yourself. And also within the app, there is an option to go in and adjust the side tone. Now, this is a feature where you can hear yourself talking, like when you're on a phone call. So you can have it where you can barely hear it, or you can turn it up where you can hear yourself very clearly. And again, this is just to keep you from yelling in earbuds, and this is beneficial when you have a pair that can block out a lot of your surroundings. Now, they also have two different listening modes that you can switch them into right out of the box. You have your quiet mode, which is basically your noise canceling turned all the way up. And then you also have your aware mode. Now, this is your transparency mode so that you can hear your surroundings. And if you go into the aware settings, this is where you can turn on a feature called Active Sense. And this basically will adjust your noise canceling in transparency mode. So if you're listening to your surroundings and something just really loud happens, the noise canceling will pull that back some so that it doesn't just blast right there in your ears. And I think this is very convenient, especially if you walk by a construction site, something just falls or a car crash happens, it won't be amplified into your ears. Now, you also have the ability to have 4 different noise canceling settings all at once. You can go through and pick from different ones that they have listed, and then just adjust the noise canceling slider to have it do as much as you want. So if you do want to set up one for work and you don't want to have it where the noise canceling is blocking everyone out, you would just dial it back a little bit closer to low. That way you can still be somewhat aware of your surroundings. Now, the actual noise canceling on here, like I said, I think it is the best of the best. You can have it where you can block out pretty much anything around you, including people talking, or you can dial it back so that you can just barely hear people talking or barely hear the engine noises. That way you're not just completely shut off from your surroundings. And the transparency mode on these earbuds is also fantastic. The mics pick up everything very well. It does have a really natural sound to it, so it doesn't sound overly artificial. The mics are not picking up a whole lot of digital noise. So if you're looking for a pair, again, for specifically noise canceling and transparency, this is going to be one of the best that you can find. Now, if you are going to use these outdoors, they do come in with an IPX4 rating, so they're going to be fine against rain and splashes and sweat and things like that, but you are not going to be able to submerge these into water. Now, as far as what all they've included in the box, you do get 3 sets of silicone ear tips, and you also get 3 stability bands, which are basically the silicone grips that go around the outside. There's some that have the little fin to help kind of keep these in your ears. So that's nice if you're going to be using these for running or anything where you're going to be bouncing up or down, or if you just have an issue keeping earbuds in your ears already. And then as far as charging, it does come with a USB-C cable. And another thing that is very puzzling is the fact that these don't support Qi wireless charging. So even at that $300 price range, you're not getting wireless charging on the case, which I do not understand. But speaking of the charging, you're also not getting some of the best battery life out there either. Like I said, you have to keep these in noise canceling mode, at least some level of noise canceling. So on the earbuds themselves, you're only getting about 6 hours, where with the charging case, you're only getting about 24 hours total. And these do have a fast charge feature, so if you happen to pick the earbuds up and they're dead, you actually have to charge these for 20 minutes to get 2 hours of use. I'm used to seeing charge 5 minutes or 10 minutes and get 2 to 3 hours. So charging them for 20 minutes isn't going to be as convenient as just throwing them in a case for 5 minutes. And again, I don't know why they've chose to do this. Maybe it's to just save the longevity of the battery life, but it's still kind of confusing. Now moving over to looking at the case, the earbuds, like I said, they are much smaller this time around. On the back, you can see there is a pairing button on the case. And then the USB-C input is located on the bottom. Now on the front is where you have a single indicator light. And this is what allows you to gauge how much battery life is actually left on the case. And the earbuds, even though they're more made to look like actual earbuds, they still are a stem style design. Just by design, they stick out in a way that it is a stem. It's just turned a little bit more forward towards your mouth. Now this makes it where it can pick up your voice during phone calls a little bit better. Now I do know that these earbuds do still have to be fairly large to cram in the technology that they're using for noise canceling and for the microphones and things like that. Now this pair also uses touch controls and swipe gestures. Thankfully, they do give you control over everything. You have your play, your pause, your ability to skip your tracks forward, go backwards, and then just by swiping up and down, you have your volume control. Now you can also program a shortcut function if you want to switch around your noise canceling modes or go to your voice assistant. So it's nice that they give you all of this control right out of the box. Now these also have a smart feature, so if you do take them out of your ears, it will just pause and it'll just go back to what you're listening to when you put them back in. And again, you can go in the app and actually change the functionality of the smart sensors. Now one thing I do want to point out is they only have it where you can just use the right earbud by itself. You can't just pull out the left earbud and use it separately because it depends on the connection of the right earbud. This is going to be frustrating for a lot of people because there are a lot that just like to use one earbud at a time. And when the right earbud dies, you just want to throw it in the case and pull out the left one. You can't actually do that. You have to wait for the right earbud to charge fully. Now, if you are going to use these for taking phone calls, this is another area that Bose has done an excellent job. They have some of the better microphones that I've heard. I think it picks up my voice very well, and it does a really good job of blocking out my surroundings. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here.
So here is the mic test using the QuietComfort Earbuds 2. And again, I think this is one of the better mics that's not on an Apple device. I think everything picks up very clearly. There is a slight amount of digital noise, but this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here's the mic test for the crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public.
So now let's talk about the sound, because I do feel like Bose's approach with these earbuds are a lot different than the first gen. I think they went a little bit more dynamic. I really feel like you're getting better bass response and a little more rumble out of the low end with the 2s over the first gen. And I also feel like the treble is much brighter on this pair. In fact, some people might find it to be a little too harsh, but again, luckily you can go in and switch around things in the EQ settings. And I think they did a very good job with the mids by pushing them forward where I could listen to metal, I could listen to hip hop, pop, country, easy listening, and the vocalists were always up front. They never got lost in the mix. And I've always kind of felt with Bose products in general, the mids have always been slightly forward, but they did an excellent job with kind of balancing these out, but in a more dynamic way. And I was very happy with the sound that they had just out of the box without switching anything around. But I do like a brighter treble and I do like a rumbling bass. And I think they pulled that off nicely with this pair. Now, as far as the sound stage and the sound imaging, For the most part, it can sound like a very open pair of earbuds. Now, I will say once the ANC kind of switches into like max ANC mode, it does feel a lot more closed in. Now, this makes you feel a little more isolated when you're listening to music, but it just doesn't sound as spacious as it does whenever the noise canceling is toned down. And as far as being able to tell where things are coming from, this pair handles with no problem. So my overall opinion is this. I think at $300, it is a very expensive pair of earbuds. But if your main reason for looking at these is active noise canceling, you just want the best of the best, then that is exactly what this pair is. But if you're looking for other features like Qi wireless charging, or maybe even the ability to be able to play back higher end Bluetooth codecs, and if you want some of the best sound out there, I don't feel like that's where these fall in line, especially again because of their price tag. I think if they were $200 to $250, maybe we could talk a little bit more about the sound. But at this price, the Sennheisers and in my opinion, the Sonys still sound better. Now that's still going to come down to personal preference. The Sonys are expensive in their own right because they are $280. Although yesterday they were on sale and they're still on sale today, at least through Target, where you can pick them up for $180. So being able to pick up the Sony XM4s at $180 definitely makes it hard to recommend the Bose QuietComfort 2 earbuds at $300. There's nothing to justify that large of a gap when it comes to the quality. The noise canceling is better in the Bose, but it's not that much better. And the sound quality, in my opinion, is not better than the Sonys. But again, all of that is just coming down to personal preference. I do think they sound great. I do think the noise canceling is the best that you can get at the moment, but there's just too many things lacking with this pair, and you're paying that name brand tax with Bose, where you're paying more than what I feel they're actually worth. So guys, that's my video on the Bose QuietComfort Earbuds 2. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.